Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Living Children and Teens YouTube Live. This is the Art of Living Children and Teens YouTube Live. Welcome to all of you for yet another episode of the Happy School, Happy Child program. This is a panel discussion with some of the best principals in India itself. Yes, and today's topic would be how effective or how community service helps to shape the life skills in students. Today we have an eminent panel. We have some of the best in education, and they have also taken leadership and responsibilities for not only their schools but for other schools and the community as well. Now, why is life skill given so much of importance? Why not just stick to academics? Well, academics gives you the platform to go out in life. It gives you all the education, it gives you all the academic knowledge that you would need in your profession or in your career. But without life skills, how are you going to apply it? We've had um, we've had interviewers who go to the best of colleges, whether it is an MBA college or an engineering college, to employ the best of talent. But there also, they look not only for their academic excellence, they also give a lot of importance and value to life skills that the participant or the applicant has achieved. Yes. So coming back to our topic, and I would like to welcome each one of the panelists. My words will fall short to describe them or to praise them, so I will simply stick to introducing them, and the rest of them, they will brief us on it. Yes. First of all, I would like to invite Mrs. Manila ma'am, welcome to the program. Manila ma'am is the founder principal of DPS East Bangalore. She is also the chairperson of the Sahodaya schools in Bangalore. She handles not only around 8,000 children, as she also takes care of 400 principals and their well-being, being the chairperson of the Sahodaya School Complex of CBSE schools. Welcome, Manila ma'am, to the program. So happy and so fortunate to have you with us.
Pleasure to be here.
Ma'am, may I request you? Thank you so much, ma'am. May I request you? I know you studied psychology and you've done so much, but I would like you to please brief us a little bit about yourself.
I am a postgraduate in education as well as psychology, and my passion is to reach out to people in need, and I love doing it, and at any cost, and that is what gives me a lot of pleasure and satisfaction. And I'm in the education field for the last 30 years. I do
Wow.
take care of the mental health of the senior secondary students. I interact with them a lot and see what are the areas of concern and reach out to the parents and guide them accordingly so that they'll have a comfortable and safe life ahead. And reaching out to teachers to make happy school. If teachers are happy, they can bring that happiness to school and take it back home to their families. So I do a lot of interactive session with the teachers as well as the parents, to reaching out to the community as well. So my doors are always open if people require any kind of support and help from my side in terms of guiding them to lead a life in the right direction.
That's so nice of you, ma'am. Ma'am, you being such a great leader and a fantastic personality that you come forth as a very, very simple person, very warm and very easy to communicate with. Thank you so much, ma'am. This speaks of your greatness. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Vasanti. Dr. Vasanti is also an eminent educationalist, and she has been a leader in her sphere. She is so dynamic and so empowered. Have you, ma'am, to talk about a little bit about yourself. She's the principal of Shishya Schools in Hosur. Welcome to the program, ma'am. Vasanti, ma'am, you may need to unmute yourself,
Yes.
please.
Namaste and welcome to everyone here. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity given to us by the Art of Living. Basically, I'm very passionate about teaching, learning, and children. As a founder of my school, we deliberately call the school as Shishya because we have dedicated everything to the child. And I strongly believe that if you take care of children, the world will be taken care of outside. I'm also very passionate about training, and I'm really thankful to God that I had some of the best opportunities to meet a lot of people and learn um, a lot of good values from them. Dr. Howard Gardner, for instance, I have had the fortune to work with him for over 10 days at Harvard and learned so much about not just multiple intelligences, the part of humility in human beings and a simple approach. Taught me that no matter what you are, ultimately how you mingle with people and deliver what you know. So I strongly believe we have to deliver what we know. I'm in this field for over 40 years, and my school is now 30 years old. And we're working to do our best every other day. I'm also very passionate about training teachers. I do a lot of training. Manila is also a trainer like me, a resource person. And we're all very passionate about making sure that a lot of teachers get trained by us and are on the platform of upgradation of skills all the time. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you once again.
Very blessed to have you with us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Usha Reddy, ma'am. She is the CEO and the principal of Meridian Schools, Hyderabad. She is also the chairperson of the Hyderabad Sahodaya School Complex of CBSE Principals. Welcome, ma'am. We've heard so much about you and the extensive work and community service that you do. I know that during the Kerala floods, you had just collected all the food packets and materials required, and I know you traveled down to Kerala to distribute the kits. You are a leader who walks the talk. Welcome. Welcome to this session, ma'am. Thank you so much. Please share
So,
a few
namaste.
lines about yourself.
Yeah. So, namaste to all the viewers and the panelists. It's indeed an honor to be part of this wonderful evening here. And I think we're all here to share our little learnings through this big, long journey that we've had as educators. And we're extremely proud that we are in this profession and in none other, because we have the opportunity to impact lives. As Gauri was rightly saying, academics, are really important. And I do believe that academics actually helps a child make a living, whereas life skills are the ones that helps a child live life effectively. So, talking a little bit about myself, I'm an alumnus of Rishi Valley School by the Jiddu Krishnamurti Foundation, and I have a PhD in, on Jiddu Krishnamurti and Sri Aurobindo, and on their philosophies as educationists. I'm very passionate about what I do with children, and I do believe that only when children are given an opportunity to serve will their perspectives change. And I think, like they say, values are caught and not taught. I think we have to be there on the ground along with the children to make that impact. Many of these little things that are done in very many of our schools, I'm sure, are, actually impact these children for life, and they actually become different people. So I value what we're doing this evening and what we're going to be talking about. And yes, every time disaster has struck, whether it was after tsunami in Prakasham or the Karnool floods or the Gujarat earthquake or the Kerala floods, I think we've all been there on the ground, And I think the children, I think the life's lessons were learned.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to introduce Mrs. Sri Jyoti, ma'am. She is currently the Vice Principal of Bhavan's Vidya Mandir, Erur, and will soon be taking charge as Vice Principal of Bhavan's Vidya Mandir, Elamakara, Cochin, from the 1st of June. She's a movie buff and a cricket buff. So it was, it was so cute, to read about her profile. Now we know how well she connects with children, teenagers. She also runs, she's very famous for running quizzes as well. Ma'am, we welcome you to this program. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, ma'am. Please introduce yourself. Sri Jyoti, ma'am. Okay, I think there was some glitch there. Reshma Ka, Dr. Reshma Ganesh is the founder principal of the Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir. She is an enthusiastic meditator and she is amazing with her children in school. Not only children, with her teachers as well. I feel very inspired and very happy and bouncy when I visit her school. She has brought a lot of transformation to the field of education. Dr. Reshma Ganesh, we welcome you to this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gauriji, for this generous introduction. I'm really happy to be here in this platform.
Reshmaka, can I request you to please share a few more words about yourself?
Sure. I come from a very small place. I was brought up in a small town in Udupi, and but this town gave me a lot of exposure to life skills and values. So this helped me when Guruji from the Art of Living, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, he asked to set up schools. So this was in the year 1999. And right from hunting for a property to setting up and running out for all the permissions, everything, I had the blessings of Guruji and the life skills that I learned in my school days and in my hometown. That really helped me set up the entire school, the campus, which is on a 5-acre campus now with 2,500 students it has grown to. So we launched the school in 2001 and I have grown with this institution. And this helped me understand the importance of life skills, the essential, the role that it plays in our life. And this has made me write several books. So, and then Guruji asked me to set up schools in other places also. So I have been traveling across the country, guiding teachers and helping keen entrepreneurs to set up schools, educationists to set up schools. So I've been traveling across. Apart from that, Guruji has also blessed me to take the happiness program, which definitely adds so much of value to everybody's life in seeing how they can be positive and stay stress free. So this is what has given me a lot of exposure, and I'm really grateful that he has blessed me even to conduct the meditation courses. And these are things that I have been conducting throughout. And as I said, I've written several books also on this, and seeing all this, the Covey institutions also have taken me as the regional advisory committee in their board. And all these things have given me a lot of exposure. And this really has made me much more stronger. And I am what I am today because of all these factors. So thank you, and looking forward to interacting with all of them.
very, very inspired to hear from you, just to listen to you and see your smile brighten up our screen. Thank you so much, Reshmaka. Thank you. I would like to invite Sri Jyoti ma'am once again to this program. Sri Jyoti ma'am, please share a few lines about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Gauri, for this opportunity. And there was a slight problem initially, and sorry about that. And I am Sri Jyoti, the currently Vice Principal of Bhavans Vidya Mandir Erur in Kochi. And we are a chain of schools coming under the umbrella organization of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. We have 7 sister institutions in Kochi itself. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this pan-Indian organization. And we get a lot of opportunities to interact with the teaching fraternity. We have 700 teachers in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in Kochi itself. And in my school, which has a student strength of about 2,000, nearly 2,500, my focus is to ensure that there is a very positive climate in school. So begin the day with a smile, maintain that smile throughout. We might face problems, little or big, but not to give up our composure and to ensure that this smile, this positive climate percolates down even to the student community, all the staff members, down to even the security staff. So my focus would be on building a positive climate, ensuring that that positive climate remains there, whatever be the problems, big or small. And I am a great fan of cricket and movies, and I have a great time with my students. I teach English in Standard 12. I'm a great fan of the English language as well as the Malayalam language, and I'm a quiz buff too. And I've conducted numerous quizzes for in the inter-school level, and also for some banks like SBI on various topics. Thank you, Gauri.
Thank you, ma'am. So happy to have you with us. And it's a very, very grand panel that we have. Everyone who has been a leader, who is a leader, and have really worked towards this leadership role. And each one of them has great experience and have taken a lot of responsibility in bringing the society to where it is, in bringing the students to where they are, and in helping teachers also cope up in their lives. Thank you, panelists. Now, we will start with our first question as to why do we think life skills are so important? Definitely, academics is important, but why do we need to focus on shaping life skills in students? Over to you, Usha ma'am.
Thank you, Gauri. I think, like I just mentioned a little earlier, I think life skills are as important as academics because it helps the child develop a perspective and also live a life in a better manner. And in schools, given various opportunities and exposures, I think, the experience is what actually gives them a different perspective. And it could touch their lives, I think, forever. And we've seen numerous cases of such instances happening. I'll give you a small example because we've adopted about 15 government schools, and we have a connect with them, and it's called the urban-rural divide. Initially, when we used to take students, we were a little apprehensive because we didn't want them to feel that they were the ones who were giving something to these children because they needed something or they were lacking something. But I think the whole experience has been a learning one for myself too. When I realized that these experiences are the one that when you're done with it, the children come back and thank you, saying that, I think we were really, really, I think for the first time, grateful for what life has given us. And, they also say that, it's not that we giving them, ma'am, but we have learned something. And I think I'm a different person today. I'm a better person today. And some of them actually go and thank their parents for the first time saying, thank you so much because now we're grateful for everything that you gave us. And until now, we didn't take note of it. So I think unless like two sides of a coin, children should be exposed to reality and life at ground level. And I think that's what actually in their young hearts will transform them and later on in life also. It's an ongoing thing. When we talk of, altruistic love, compassion, but I do believe that service is the most important one of them all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Usha ma'am. Now over to Manila ma'am. We know that all of us know the importance of altruism, like how Usha ma'am has said, how important life skills are. But most often we find, in our discussions and confluences with principals and academicians, we have also learned that, from them, they share that, in school we do emphasize on all these factors, but parents want result. Parents are after marks, scores, and which school or college they get into. So Manila ma'am, I would like to ask you, how do we ensure this in school? How do you handle this? Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, Gauri, what you said is very true because most of the parents look for those marks, but we do talk to the parents sometimes, personally, one to one, to make them understand how important is life skilling. Now, especially when the children have to apply for foreign universities or when they have to apply for in colleges, these days they're very particular to show what is the extracurricular activity that you have done, what is the social service that you have done. So children are aware of these things these days. And when we introduce these programs in school, they're more than willing to do, because at the end of the day, they want to strengthen their CV. So, and strengthen their application form. So it is definitely required. And we used to make compulsory NSS in ninth standard itself. So at that stage itself, we used to prepare the children, and we used to give them a certification. So at the end of the day, they're very happy. I have a certificate in hand, and we used to send them to orphanages, old age homes, or cleaning up the villages, or collecting drive of newspapers or old clothes and things like that. And if children enjoy doing that work, I'm sure they're more than happy to join it. And children are the best ones, to introduce life skill at different stage, at different age level. We must choose the life skills for them, and don't teach as a separate period as such. Oh, I'm teaching you life skill. Nobody will like that. But when you're teaching the subject, when you're teaching a content, you bring it, and indirectly they have to learn. And whatever learning they do, they need to imbibe and attach to their life, and this should enable them to have problem solving or decision making or communication skill to improve on, or a broader horizon in their life. So this little life skill what children learn in the school itself will help them to enhance their life ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manila ma'am. Vasanti ma'am, in this day and age, where, yes, like I have already asked Manila ma'am about the academic scores, but also, and the parents also wanting academic scores. Now coming to children and teenagers especially, where they also face peer pressure, and they face pressure from parents and perhaps teachers also to perform well in their exams or academics, how do we ensure that we can bring the focus equally? I'm talking about how do we ensure a balance between academics and life skills. Now, Manila ma'am has shared in a very nice what all initiatives they have done in the school or how ma'am has led them. We would like to hear from you, Vasanti ma'am.
Sure. Thank you. It's a beautiful question. Basically, I like to begin with the fact that I come from an industrial town called Hosur. And this sets the background for handling this issue, which we spoke about by coincidence. Because children must have the industry interface to know what the world of work demands. We have to remember as teachers, principals, that the cognitive skills are fine, results are okay, but what the world of work demands today is one thing. 5 years from now, jobs have not been defined. And imagine your kindergarten child who has come in today, 3.5 year, 4.5 year old child. 12 to 14 years from now, that is about 2034, we don't even know what are those job profiles in the market. Now, with that kind of a very bleary kind of a background, as educators, we have this huge responsibility of feeling the pulse of industry. And when I talk about industry, I'm not talking about per se industry, the world of work. It could be any field in the world of work. You could be a doctor, you could be an engineer, you could be a beauty parlor owner, you could be anything. But what are you doing with the skills that are required for that particular phase of time? So in school, what we do is we constantly ensure that there is this industry school interface happening constantly, because most of my parents fortunately come from industrial backgrounds. So we invite people from TVS Motor Company, the Titan Company, maybe jewelry, Ashok Leyland, maybe from a hotel management industry. So they all come in to talk to children about what they really need. And one aspect I also found very important here is the responsibility of schools to build portfolios for children. Children don't know about the value of a portfolio. But we know, because the industry tells you very often that when they, at least our illness has told us that when they go for the world of work interviews, they're asked about what kind of things they did in school other than academics. Look at the question. So these children have to demonstrate in a 5-minute interview all that they did in school other than academics. So unless the school has built a beautiful portfolio for children and guided them through that, these children cannot present themselves, because the platform is a level playing ground in the interview hall. Everyone is a topper, everyone is an IITN or whatever. So beyond that, what are you? Do you have an edge over the others? What sort of edge do you have? And they hardly give you 5 minutes. And then there is one kind of a group interview that's happening or something. How fast can you collaborate with an unknown team? These are all observed. And in a flash of a moment, you got to take a call. So most of my children, I'm happy to say, they've joined Caterpillar, some of the biggest MNCs. They come back to school just to share with us that they've asked them questions like, what is this kindergarten? You got a prize for some fancy dress competition. Kindergarten. Why? And this child has to explain, and imagine a 21-year-old engineer has to explain that when he was 5.5, why did he dress up like Charlie Chaplin? They just try to judge you in the 2 minutes as to what you did in your school and how effectively you can communicate. You have collaborative skills. Are you able to think out of box? Can you think on your feet all the time? Look at the challenges that our children are going to face in the future. So as educationists, we have this huge responsibility of ensuring that we are actually holding the pulse of industry. We cannot sleep on results in the school or focus on the board exam. The principals have to go beyond that and look at industry and say, what do you want and what can we do? Where is that bridge between industry and my children? How do they get that interface with you? And I think that holds the key to the future. Thank you.
I have got a sneak peek into why you are so lovable and so loved among your students. Thank you so much, Vasanthi ma'am, for that beautiful insight. I mean, looking forward, interacting with industrialists, getting their feedback on what is current, and getting the students set in their career. Amazing, amazing, Vasanthi ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sri Jyoti ma'am, may I ask you, now, we know that a lot of children are motivated, okay, to do community service or to take up some service projects because they know they will get certificates, okay, and or else they'll have something to exhibit or show that they have done community service. Now, my question to you, ma'am, is how do we create or how do we retain or nurture the intrinsic value of the self? How do we retain or nurture that the children cultivate their intrinsic value of goodness and service without being only motivated? Motivators are good. Showing them the focus is good. It's fantastic. But does certificate ensure that the you are intrinsically good? This is my question to you, ma'am.
Very nice question, Gauri. See, I believe in catching children young. Most children belong to nuclear families nowadays. and where they are pampered and every wish of theirs is catered to. And sometimes there is a tendency for selfishness to creep in. So, as educators, we have seen over the years that in homes where children are made to feel responsible for even a tiny action of theirs, they grow up or they come to school with a very different mindset than those homes where everything is done for those children. So, as teachers, we have to consistently and persistently instill in the children that they are responsible for every little action of theirs. For example, in many classrooms in the evening, we see that the whole class is littered, and children sometimes they come up with a stock answer. If you tell them, if you point out, why didn't you pick up that paper? There are children, I have to admit, madam, I didn't put it down. So unless all the teachers as a community have to consistently and persistently uh, encourage them or coax them to practice, and the teachers can lead by example. You see a paper lying down on the floor. There's no harm in the teacher herself picking it up. And this, if one teacher does or a couple of teachers do this, it is not enough. The whole teacher fraternity of the school has to consciously develop that kind of culture where responsibility is instilled in students right from a young age. And I think along with this comes the dignity of labor. Children should not be encouraged to have a condescending attitude towards anybody, any staff. And so we have to practice. It's not enough if we preach. We have to show the students that we treat everyone on par, whatever level, whether they are teachers, whether they belong to the support staff, whether they are security staff. We have to show them that all of them have to be acknowledged and appreciated for any kind of service. If this kind of culture can be nurtured in schools, I think half the job is done. Then we take these students. It is not for certificates. We do not give any certificates for such work that is done. And I have to quote the example of a boy in our school. He has taken to the social media platform, and nobody has asked him to do this. But he was only in the 8th standard, and he made a very short film, on the killing smoke, and it won a lot of accolades. And the DIG of the state, he appreciated and acknowledged this video that was made, and he announced that it should be shown to a wide the community of students across the state. And there are lots of things being done in the wake of the Kerala floods that happened, that wreaked havoc in the state last year. The first call that I get when the whole state was getting, many parts of the state were getting submerged. The first call that I get was from my school leader. No teacher had called him. No, nobody had told him. Not the higher ups had not told him to do anything. But the first call I get, and he tells me, "Madam, shouldn't we do something?" So it is there in the children. It is not because they expect a certificate or anything, but they've grown up with that culture, seeing people around them do good things. And I think if that culture is built up right from a young age, I think half the work is done.
Absolutely, ma'am. Well said. Absolutely. I'm sure all the panelists agree with us on this. And I would now like to ask Reshma ma'am. We are talking about life skills. Now, what are the tools to ensure that children grow up, teenagers grow up with these life skills? We are talking about communication skills. We are talking about a sense of responsibility. We are talking about the intrinsic goodness in children. What are the tools that will help in bringing this out or nurturing it or keeping it intact? We all know Manila ma'am, Usha ma'am, Vasanti ma'am, Sri Jyoti ma'am, all of them have shared that children are all of this. But what do we give them, Reshma ma'am, to ensure that they retain it as well? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for this wonderful question. Really nice. It got me also thinking, yes, what do we do? So beautiful question. See, being in the Art of Living family, I have got a lot of exposure to doing a lot of community services. And I have seen how these exposures and doing these community services has really transformed my life, and it has given me such enriching experience and the kind of growth that I have seen internally happening within me. So this same thing, I wanted it to be implemented in the students. And all the life skills, there are 10 core life skills. So each one is having its importance and is very essential in the modern lifestyle that we lead, the kind of interviews that we face or the competitive levels. So every life skill, be it having self-awareness, be it problem solving, the empathy, communication skills, stress management, managing your own emotions, all these are very, very essential life skills that we must make the students become aware and listen. So we give them in the beginning of the academic year itself, we plan an calendar for these community services. And for all age levels, according to their age levels, we we give them different kinds of exposures to do these, implement these community services. And it's not just doing these services. I want them to come back and reflect what was their understanding before, how was their emotions before, and what is it that they learned, and how are they feeling now once they have done this. So this really helps them to understand the importance of these community services and how it has helped them in their present life. How it has brought a shift in their thinking, a shift in their understanding and seeing things from different perspectives, as well as putting themselves in others' shoes. It's not just, otherwise it's very easy to crib and complain the problems that is there around. Oh, plastic, we shouldn't. But what is the solution? I want them to understand, think, critically think. So that is another skill that they have to develop in themselves. So think of a solution. What can you come out with? How can you help? Now, for example, in a nursery, they are all putting those little saplings in those plastic containers, covers. So what solution can you give them? What alternative solutions can you give them? So these are things I want them to think critically. And again, creatively also, they come out with something that is really beautiful. So finally, it touches on all the life skills, and this enhances their personality. I feel they blossom and their potentials are untapped in these things. So these are the methods and tools that we adopt.
Wow, that was very enlightening, Reshmaka. That was so beautifully conveyed. We in the Art of Living Children and Teens, as part of the Teenagers program, where we focus on inculcating value system, value education is imparted in these programs, as well as we emphasize on the life skills in students, in the teenagers and children. Now, as part of the teenagers program, there is a level 2 where we focus on responsibility as a big factor, like how you have the IQ and how you have the EQ, and how you have social quotient. We also focus on the RQ. It's a responsibility quotient, and like how you have said, when students or whenever any one of us, not just students, even as adults, when we take up responsibility, there is a sense of confidence and self-esteem and self-assuredness that comes within us. And we believe that the more self-assured you are, the more confident you are, the more relaxed you are as a person. Yes, I'm sure all of you agree with me on this. I would like to go further on this by saying that I was, in fact, a little shocked when in one of our programs where we had done in one of the villages, the children, when we do have this project where we go and help villagers around the surrounding area. So when we went to the village, or before going, I had a small demo in the campus itself where I asked them to go clean their own classrooms And they were so hesitant in the beginning. And later they shared, "Ma'am, we are not used to doing this. I have never touched a broom in my life." And I was so shocked to hear this. But they also came back telling me that, "Ma'am, we are so happy you got us to do this. At first, we thought this was a punishment given to us for being noisy or loud, but now we understand the joy of giving." Yeah. So I just wanted to state that. And now to go over to Manila, ma'am, because of her experience in mental health of children and teenagers. Ma'am, can you please throw a little bit of light on how community service can, just what I said now, but we would like to learn from the expert how this can help to shape the mental health of teenagers. Over
Yeah,
to
in
you.
the current situation, there are a lot of teenagers who are stressed a lot, So we deal with them, teach them how to cope up with this stress, because this is one of the most important life skill. And when we know how to manage our emotions, I think other skills will automatically fall in place and we can nurture them. Now, what happens when the teenagers are in the classes? There is a lot of pressure. As Indian parents, we always believe in marks, and there is a lot of push and choice of stream. We always, we want our children to take only science stream. Whether I have an aptitude for that or not, my child has to be either engineer or a doctor and nothing else. So that is the mindset we have, and it is we as parents we decide the future for our children. We decide the career option for our children. That is where the children get into a lot of stress. Now, when we deal with the children one to one, some parents willingly accept our advice. Some of them are very adamant. They said, "No, I want my entire family is from IIT. We are gold medalists, and my child has to be an engineer." We have cases like this where children have gone to such a level of depression they're just not able to come out and not able to answer the board exams. We have come to that level. Now, in these cases, to soothe the child, sometimes to divert their mind, we tell them, "You can try to do this social service activity. Maybe the child will be brilliant in that," and slowly try to help him come out of the stress level, because it becomes a stress buster for him. Otherwise, all the time thinking of the studies, thinking of getting good marks. So we try to counsel this child, and by then parents also will understand. My child is going through so much of stress and agony. I think I should do something for the child, and they leave it to us. "Ma'am, you only decide and guide how to go about." So that is the time where we step in and guide the students and tell them to do some kind of services to the society, and where they get the acknowledged and they feel happy when they have seen something happening. That is how we guide the children, and I'm sure this is something that we need to instill in children right from the young age, and especially from our own homes. Now, the current COVID situation, when so many things are happening, how many families have come out and taught the children to help out another person who is in need? I think those families who have helped or guided their own children to do something for the others, they have done an excellent job in bringing out a life skill in their own children, without even telling the child, "I'm teaching you a life skill." That is what gets inbuilt in the children, and this is very, very important. I think as parents we also have a major role, because how I communicate with my child, in the house, and how I address other people in front of my child matters a lot. Child picks up whatever the parent says, whatever the teacher says. Well, so we are great role models to bring in life skill in our own children.
Wow, ma'am. So happy to know that thousands of children are so secure under your guidance and your expertise.
Right.
What a wonderful work you're doing, ma'am. What a wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And I still remember when my elder son was going to, pre-nursery, Shanti ma'am was running this school. It was called Jack and Jill, and my son was maybe 2.5 or 3 years at that time. And, she had a talk with the parents where she said, if you are not well, you communicate to the child that you're not feeling well. Give them a chance to maybe massage your head or massage your feet. Give them that chance, get them involved. That is how, otherwise, when we raise children, protecting them from all the problems around us and getting them to focus on what they have to do, we miss out on teaching these fine, refined skills in life. I would say not just skills. I would say that is who you are, isn't it? As a person, your nature, your innate nature is to be good, compassionate, and caring.
Very true.
Now, one question to Usha ma'am. Thank you, Manila ma'am. One question to Usha ma'am is, which has come up, do we have community service as part of the curriculum in the Indian education system? That is formally. I know each school does this, but do we have something which will shape the next generation of India into community service? Over to
Yes.
you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. I think, life skills are very much a part of the Indian curriculum. And even if you look at CBSE, I think, this is something that all schools do. But how schools go about it and how much focus they'd like to give on it is something that every school does internally. Now, our schools, for example, I think our tagline is connecting the mind and heart. We truly believe that it's not just about developing the mind and the intellect of the child, but it also has to do with the heart. So, how do you do that? Right from the lower classes. I think, when we're talking of mindfulness, we're talking of, focusing on the breath, we're talking of sharing and caring. It could be anything, apart from lots of things that were already mentioned, on the panel, giving them exposure to go and take care of senior citizens or orphan children or in the rural sector. I think, it's an integral part of what we need to do. I do believe that, no curriculum, tells you that you cannot do this. So I feel, what we believe in as leaders, we need to grab and take it to the next level. Like, schools do to develop life skills, like, Vasanti ma'am was also saying, entrepreneurship, internships. These things are very, very important. But, in today's world of online learning and things like that, I think even media literacy, responsible use of the internet, these are things also that we need to teach them. So, service need not be only to the external community, but I think for the little ones also, it has to begin at home. So, like you rightly said, giving them an opportunity, encouraging them, then they feel that they've really contributed. I think that makes the self esteem go up. And when the self esteem of the child is, kind of taken note of, they'll make it a habit, because by the end of it all, it's how you feel. And one more point I'd like to make, like you were saying, parents, focusing only on education and, academics and all that. We need to make our children understand that it's important to succeed in life, but not at the cost of your happiness. And true happiness only comes from giving. So I think these are value systems that we should, put into our schools, irrespective of whether it's mandated by any curriculum. And I'm sure all the leaders here are doing just that. What we believe in, what is our core, should become a lifestyle for us in the school, so children can emulate. Just give them the opportunity, and everything else will be taken care of automatically. The little program that we always do, and to raise money, some schools say, how can you do so much of social service? Give them that responsibility to raise money. Our project is called Recycling Life. And what do they recycle? Plastic, newspapers, clean up the homes, help your parents, get all of that, get to the community. And when they raise money, believe me, it's been outstanding. We've always surpassed our targets. It's crossed 8 to 12 lakhs for any given service that we need to do. So I think the onus is on them to take responsibility. They have a problem, they raise the fund themselves, and they execute it. So critical thinking, problem solving, and your emotional quotient, everything is taken care of. And that, I think, is a stronger learning that comes out from their childhood till they finish with school.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. And I know I have already mentioned it in our last panel discussion as well, where happiness is a factor for creating a secure environment for children, making them more confident, making them more self assured. So I had shared that when Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar ji had a panel discussion with the Ivy League professors, in the US, they were sharing, the professor from Yale, if I'm not mistaken, was sharing that all the alumni came back, and when they addressed the current students who are studying there right now, they all said, don't run after money, don't run after the ones who are going to pay you the highest, okay, because you're going to burn out. Yeah. And what really creates sustainable happiness is in altruistic activities. When you are engaged in altruistic activities in service, that is what is going to give you sustained happiness. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Now, I am so blank right now. I had a question framed for Vasanti, ma'am, but seeing I am really overwhelmed by all your contribution and all the knowledge and wisdom and the richness of experience that you're sharing right now. Vasanti, ma'am, I've collected it back. Yes. So I also would like to share that, yes, in this interaction with Gurudev, they had also shared that once you are stress free, you are relaxed, then you are able to do community service as well. Yeah. Nobody stressed can go and do community service. I'm sure all the panelists, the experienced eminent panelists agree with me. Otherwise, it will just be a task or an assignment to be done with, isn't it? And most often, we also see in some cases where children come to you with a book and say, Auntie, can you please help me out here? Can you please sign it for me saying that I have done this service? Okay. So, instead of a task to be ticked off against, yes, if this, I know it is part of it, we cannot avoid it. But how do we bring the children to a stress free level where they extend themselves out to the community and they grow richer through that experience also? Now, as I mentioned earlier, when I took the children out to the village and they didn't want to lift a broom in the first place, you know what they shared when they came back? What they shared is not just that we felt happy reaching out to somebody else or we felt happy doing something for somebody else. What they shared is, ma'am, we have learned so much from the villagers. So it was more of a, exchange program rather than thinking that I am doing some favor to another person. Yeah. Yes. Vasanti ma'am, your thoughts on this, and also how do you keep your students stress free, relaxed, and confident? Over to you, ma'am.
Is your question related to the services that children render and therefore they need to be stress free to render services outside school? Is that your question?
Yes, that along with how do you maintain the mental health of your students? How do you ensure that children are stress free?
Okay. One thing is, we all strongly believe in the power of meditation and mindfulness about the meditation we do. So we have a lot of instruments in place in terms of even the assembly starting with 5 minutes of meditation. We have taken a lot of evidences in terms of before after feeling of meditation and how children have responded beautifully to that. And I had shared some of this with Gauri prior to this meeting. And I think in the training we did with Manila, I think we all experienced that change that could happen in a fraction of a second through meditation. And we could see a jump in the percentage of the calm mind from about 30% of the audience, the teachers, we were about 25 of us. I did a survey on how do you feel now, just when the training started. And after the meditation got done, I said, let's take the survey again. How do you feel now? And I showed them the comparative pie chart, and it was awesome to see that jump from 30% to about 90%. That orange band shifted on the pie chart. I think Manila was witness to that. And it was like some kind of magic happening on the screen there, because then we realized that meditation is a very powerful instrument that schools should use. I don't know whether the term instrument is right, but it is a powerful tool or whatever you call it. So we do it in our school, and that's one way to start. Every class, we always begin with a little bit of meditation, the quietness of the self. And we also believe, when we talk about happy teachers making happy spaces, we are very concerned that it is our responsibility to leave behind a stress-free class for the next teacher to come and take over. So you can't leave a class behind with a closure that is a hangover of emotions that are not very positive. The next teacher would have tough times with them. So I think we spoke a lot about closure on the training program the other day. What is the teacher's responsibility to adequately bring a proper closure to the class? So thanking the children for their contribution to the learning, the teacher using a we factor that we all learn together. It's not I am the teacher, you are the student. Telling children that it's okay to make mistakes. Doesn't matter if you didn't do well in the test. So what? The test is not everything in life. Okay, next period you have another test. It should be fine. And we look forward to working with you tomorrow. It was great fun being with all of you. And you're leaving behind a very positive class. So the next teacher comes in and she starts on that note. It's our responsibility to handle this 5 minutes of closure. So in our school, we give a lot of importance to the time we give for the closure activity, and we tell teachers it's more or less mandatory that you must close properly, leave the class behind without any negative emotions, either from the teacher or children, and move to your next class. So if every teacher does this, the entire school is having a face over of transition. The children are ready for the next class. And there's no agitation about the previous class or the next class test. That's one way of handling stress. And like I like to take a thread from what the others spoke in terms of life skills and services. And I think there's a lot of research that's gone into this, honestly, in terms of the fact that children who were in IITs or MITs were deliberately asked to break away from schedules of study and do service outside. They were taken to an orphanage, some were taken to an old age home, and simply asked to work with those kids. I mean, those people there. And these children are wondering, what on earth are we going to do there? But then, after a week of working with those people, they came back and realized that your MIT or your IIT doesn't matter. And the art of living is actually the art of giving. You know, you live life when you give, and the best way to receive is to give, actually. Because the more you give, the more you're going to receive in terms of blessings, in terms of goodwill, in terms of spreading the good word everywhere. And I think that kind of thing we have to utilize in our schools also. So we take our children out to old age homes, and there's nothing compulsory. The CBSE has brought in the Seva with all its strands and all that, and it all gets linked, no doubt, with the report card. But if schools can make it authentic in terms of children actually participating out of passion, not out of pressure. The pressure versus passion is very important. The children look forward. When do we go back next? When do we green the outside of the school, within the school? How do we go to the village and talk to them there? I think this pressure to pleasure will happen beautifully, and very soon you'll find the pleasure of giving actually de-stresses children a lot. The academics will follow anyway. That's my opinion. Thank you.
That was amazing, ma'am. That was amazing. And in our Medha Yoga programs, where we have the Art of Living programs for teenagers, we do take them to orphanages, old age homes as a sample. But here, I would like to add that we not only donate something. If children have brought toys for the orphanage, I ask the children to play with them, to play with the inmates, teach them a new game. Or if we are to go to an old age home, I would ask them to, why don't you do a performance for them? And, maybe set up a vegetable garden for them, somewhere where you touch their heart as well. Sometimes we get so caught up in giving something, but you know, two hearts need to connect. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vasanti ma'am. And Sri Jyoti ma'am, over to you.
Yes.
I know that the school, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, focus.
I think there was a small glitch, technical glitch. The question which we want to ask is how Bharati Vidya Bhavan has taken care of community service. Shri Jyoti ma'am, if you can pour a little more light on it.
Yeah, definitely. In all our 7 schools, we have this scheme called Seal a Desire. That is, students are persuaded or they're encouraged to sacrifice something which they little. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. In all our schools, we have this program called Seal a Desire, and students are encouraged to sacrifice some little thing which they like very much, and they are expected to bring to school. Just as something as simple as a handful of rice, a handful of cereals, a handful of pulses on a weekly or a monthly basis. And when they see, this is a small thing, but when all these children together unite, we get a substantial quantity of cereals and pulses, and this is distributed to homes, deprived people in the vicinity of all our schools. This is done regularly, and I'm very happy to say that for the last 3 years, the school where I work, that is Bhavan's Vidyamandir Erur, we go every week. There's a teacher. There are teachers in charge of the social service club or the integrity club, and every month they go on house visits, and the teachers in charge, they take along with them a handful of children. It's not possible to take many children along, but during a free period, about 10 children are taken to the homes of these people who are living in the vicinity of the school, but who are really deprived of basic, essential commodities. And every month, this is provided, and they look forward to the visits of these children. It is not that they just go there and distribute these things, but these children make it a point to spend quality time with these people. And the children there, it is seamless. The interaction with those people is seamless. The children have no qualms about sitting there, talking with them. And also sometimes some of the inmates of the houses, they share some food with the children, and the children have, learned over the years to accept it without any qualms, without any hesitation. And as part, we also have a program called palliative care, and this is done regularly by teachers. But I think it will be nice, the CBSE and the schools include this as part. There should be, I believe that there should be some charity also. There is an element of persuasion in it. Not everybody is ready to, it is not intrinsically built in everyone. So there should be an element of persuasion, at least in some cases. So children can be encouraged to, as part, just like people, just like teenagers and youth go for internships. I think as part of the school social responsibility scheme, students, at least the secondary school students, should take it on themselves, or the schools should initiate programs where students are encouraged to make such visits. And if 2 students or 4 students do it, I think the rest will follow, because always there is this herd mentality. What one does, what my classmate does, I have to do in a better way. So I think this will be a chain reaction, but it has to be initiated in a small scale. I think the Bharati Vidya Bhavan, as a chain of schools, is doing wonderful work. And in the wake of the floods that caused havoc in Kerala, several homes were built for the people who lost their homes in the floods. And even in the wake of the corona crisis, our management was very good enough. All of us teachers, we were donating. It is a small contribution. It's not a big deal, but all of us were encouraged to voluntarily contribute 2 days of our salary. I'm not claiming that it is a big thing, and those who want it could even contribute more. So this has gone to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund, and I'm sure the students who hear it will also be, inspired to emulate the good work that the staff does, and they are doing it. And in the context of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, teams from our schools visited the neighboring schools, the government schools, schools which had a very small student population, the student number, the schools on the fringes. And they raised a lot of awareness. They created a lot of awareness amongst those students about the need for peace and harmony. Because those students who belong to the fringe, the marginalized sections of society, they have a lot to feel depressed about. And I'm very happy that our students were, vying with one another to become a part of that team. It had to be seen to believe, to be believed. And I'm very happy that our school is doing wonderful work in the arena of school social responsibility projects. Thank you.
Fantastic, ma'am. I'm coming to you, Usha ma'am, after a
Yes.
quick question to Reshma ji. Now, Reshma ji also comes under the Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Vidya Mandir, and she had also shared about how much she has worked towards ensuring value education to children along with academics. Now, Reshma ji, the Art of Living, we all know, is one of the leading voluntary organizations and who have come to the rescue whenever we've had a flood, whenever we've had earthquakes, any natural calamities, war, bombings, whatever it is. Now, going by that, both not only in coming to the rescue or doing community service, but the Art of Living also focuses on stress relief to people and bringing a happy smile on everyone's face. Reshma ji, how have you been instrumental in implementing the Art of Living initiatives in your school, as well as in creating a happy environment both for the students and the teachers? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for this. When parents come in for admission itself, when they walk into our campus, they see the way the campus is, and the people they greet. They understand that they talk, as you said, heart-to-heart communication is there. So they start enjoying the campus itself and interacting with the staff members there. And we give them an immediate orientation, or we tell them about the programs that we have for students, which helps them to manage and deal with these stress. So there are these programs from the Art of Living, which is Utkarsh Yoga and Meda Yoga. So we talk to them about these programs and how it has really helped, because we have a lot of students who have shared their experiences. We have so many parents who have told that their ward was very temperamental or throwing tantrums, and how this child could really manage his emotions and has come to understanding and accepting. There was sibling rivalries happening, so how they could deal with these emotions. And also they have transformed by, as I said, instead of always complaining, cribbling, they have started seeing things with a broader perspective, on seeing how can I contribute, then how can I gain. This is what is happening now. In most of the places we see, people are thinking, what can I get if I do this? What is that I'm going to benefit? But now they have seen the transformation in students as these programs we run for the students. Parents come and tell, my child always thinks no, and says that, Amma, we should contribute. Papa, we should do this for the society. And they have this belongingness as they take the responsibility. So they have seen this, and this is where parents are vouching for these courses, and they are the ones who have been our brand ambassadors, saying that these are the programs that is there in these schools, which has, along with the academics, their personality is also shining, and I have seen in my child the transformation. So this is what is already, parents are coming with this mindset, and when we tell them and when they see the campus, they are really for it. And in the orientations also, we have students sharing their experiences, the personal experiences of what, as I said, they reflect when they do a program. As you said, when they go to community service, or when they go and perform in an old age home or read a story for a blind child, they come back and they reflect how was their emotions before. As you said, they were apprehensive. What is this? Especially these boys, or this thing. How can we perform? What is this? They have this shyness, or no, we have not. We don't want to. But once they have performed or read out a story for a blind, the feeling that they have within, the kind of I can say, it increases their power of life. They feel very confident. They feel very good. They feel very socially responsible also to the entire country. So these are the things that has really what made it special in our schools. And when we have these videos played, and these things, the other students also see, the who are new joinees, they are also very eager for the program. They sit with the complete 100% sincerity. They participate in these both Meta Yoga, Utkarsh Yoga, and all the Art of Living programs, and they have experienced these transformations. So this has really broadened their vision and deepened their roots also. And the belongingness, I'll say, is not just to their family, not just to their friends, but this belongingness towards the country, to the entire community, is what I have seen growing, and they feel more responsible and emotionally connected. So there is this empathy, which I feel is one of the essential qualities that gets enhanced as these programs they go through. So they start putting themselves in others' shoe, and they feel that is where the respect for whatever background they come from, whatever background they are, their respect for each other gets enhanced. So this is the beauty I've seen with these courses, and that is why all willingly go through these courses.
Thank you, Reshma ma'am. So heartening to hear this from you, being a founder principal and initiating these programs and founding schools across India, sharing your knowledge with others as well. Thank you so much, Reshmaka. Now, I am also aware and very happy to also share that Usha ma'am and Vasanti ma'am have both had the Art of Living programs for their students and teachers in their schools. Yes, I would like them to also share this. Yes, Usha ma'am, I'm sorry to make you wait. I would like you to throw light on what your work on gender equality is also, and also share how effective or beneficial the Art of Living programs have been in your school, ma'am. Over to you.
Well, Gauri, honestly, when we decided to do the Art of Living program first, for the teachers, many of them were a little apprehensive. But because we had that 1 week break, where not break, actually, it was exam time for the children. So we used to have the half days. So it was so nice that we could actually conduct this, for a few hours every day at the campus itself. It made it easy for them. And I just realized that after the program, the bonds was so much stronger. And I think all barriers were broken. And we were just like one solid community, and I think it was shared happiness. And I think after that, I had many teachers who actually came and said, ma'am, I feel we just know you a little better. And, you're more accessible. And, maybe we can come and just talk to you about our problems. So I think the Art of Living did have a great impact on us as a teaching community. Now, when it comes to children also, there are multiple benefits, but I'd like to get to the gender equality question that you were asking. From our experience with doing social service in the rural sector, it was shocking for some of our children when some of the girls from the village called and said, my marriage is fixed, all of 13 years, and I'm going to get married, and I don't want to get married. So children were so perturbed. So we got in touch with the parents. And they said, no, it's all done. And in a week, the girl is getting married. So we had to explain to them that sometimes this, the social customs we can't break. But we didn't stop at that. The children came up with a program whereby they started an awareness program, not just for the girls and the boys in the school, but for the parents of the village. And, after years, we have found that, child marriages have actually come down, which I think is very, very heartening. And during the pandemic also, when you talk of gender equality, I think there's no such thing as like, early, in the late 90s, when we were doing like something like a Swachh Bharat program those days, a clean up city drive, the boys would say, we won't pick up the brooms. But I think we've come a long way. And the pandemic has shown us, this lockdown has shown us that all of us can do everything and we ought to do everything. I think we're all aware that home abuse and all of that is very rampant. And many people don't know how to cope with these things. But at least these children who've had this exposure, I'm sure will pitch in, will also be a little sensitive to what is happening and get control of emotions. So I think respecting women, respecting the opposite gender, vice versa, and, taking it, a step further is what we have to inculcate in our students. Because everything begins with a little exposure from schools and, what we do as leaders. And I think it'll come a long way. And it is so heartening to see, the kind of work that they're doing to share responsibilities. And I hope they take it to the larger community as well.
Absolutely, ma'am. My prayers, all our prayers for the girl child and gender equality. Coming to that, Bhanumati Narasimhanji, Srimati Bhanumati Narasimhanji is the sister of Gurudev, Puja Sri Ravi Shankarji, and she has been continuously working for the betterment of society and especially for the girl child. She has been conducting with her team a very strong, empowered women's team and empowered men's team as well. The International Women's conferences over the last 8 to 9 years now, and bringing forth women leaders in the field to also discuss the problems faced, everything about from violence to better security, women empowerment, whatever it be. And she is also running 765 schools, Reshmaka, where we have 72,000 or 73,000 children studying in these free schools all over India.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And I think Manila ma'am, we have lost you. Yes, she has just messaged saying there are heavy rains. We are experiencing that here in Bangalore right now, and very happy to have you with us, Manila ma'am. Now, I would also, yes, I think she's getting reconnected. We are also running short of time. It's already 7:20. It has been such an engrossing discussion. Sri Jyoti ma'am has also asked for adding a last point. Maybe we'll have another 5 minutes because I do not want to lose this opportunity of having such an eminent panel with us, and so experienced, so rich in knowledge, so committed, so passionate, and yet so loving. Good to you, Sri Jyoti ma'am. You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Even though I said one point, I think I'll be a little greedy and add 2 points. One point is one project that we have initiated in school this year. It is a peer student teacher repository. That is, we had asked for volunteers from students, those who would like to teach, the students who are not, who are weak in certain subjects. And we got a good list, and it only served to help to enable them to get the concepts that they were thorough with a little more thorough, and they were helping their friends also at the same time. So simultaneously they were killing two birds with a single stone. The concepts that they learned were being reinforced once more, and they took the trouble to spend extra time after class so that they could help. It was not just selfishness, it was also, they were very generous and they lent their expertise and help. And we discovered that some of them were very good teachers. And another thing, in the midst of this corona crisis, we have been experiencing the lockdown for the last almost 2 months. And one good thing that has come out, it's a real learning experience, because the quality, as all of you would agree, all of you who live in metropolitan cities would agree, the quality of our environment has really improved manifold. The air quality, everything. So I think we don't have to have a corona crisis or any other pandemic, but I think it would do all of us a good if at least on a yearly basis, at least 1 week or at least in a month, 1 day, a lockdown is enforced, so that the quality of our lives can be improved at least by a small level. Okay, thank you. On that note, I think I conclude.
This is exactly what Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankarji has also said, that every year we should have 1 week of lockdown, mainly to give nature some rest. Now, any concluding lines? Any of you wish to share, ma'am?
I just want to add a note on the art of living, which you were asking me to speak on, probably. One thing is the art of living program started with Sriram, who's very active in Hosur. And I did the program first, and I didn't get my teachers into it. But when they started seeing me managing a lot of things on my own, they came asking me, how come at this age, ma'am, you're always looking calm and happy? And I said, simple thing is the Sudarshana Kriya. That's it. And I said, you want to really experience it? I'll arrange for it. Then we got Sriram to do it. And 1 week, right in the school, we got it done. Then we went into Art Excel for children. And also the Yes program was done for the adolescents. And I think the effectiveness was very, very evident and visible in all these programs. Today, most of my teachers are practitioners of the Sudarshana Kriya. In fact, we don't come to school without doing it in school. We feel it's an obligation to ourselves to do the Sudarshana Kriya. We owe ourselves that. And the Sudarshana Kriya is that platform to give us that peace of mind to take the school better. Thank you. That's all I wanted to add. And it's been great sharing from wonderful people here. Thank you for this opportunity.
If I may add, I think
Yes.
the beautiful part of it is whether we have another lockdown or not, I'm not sure, but making children understand that everything lies within us. You know, how we can actually go deeper within ourselves, and all happiness comes from within. It's not from the materialistic world or anything else that we're aspiring for. I think, and the lockdown has been a great teacher for us. Like they said, the lessons that we've learned are after the exam was given. The lockdown was announced, and then people learned to cope with it. But I think there's a lot of beautiful stuff that all of us have learned from it. So I think sometimes just learning to be calmer and, trying to go deeper into yourself and reflect on the purpose of life. Is this really what we want to do in life? I think all of us have been given that time and space. This pause button has really helped us realign our thoughts. And, I'm sure even for the children, they will start thinking, and their life's perspective hopefully will come out with better reflection. Thank you.
Very beautifully said, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Lovely. Manila, ma'am, did you want to add something, ma'am?
Just missing all the kids in the campus. So wishing them safe stay at home, and requesting parents to have patience with the children. I know it's very difficult to handle the children inside the four walls, but soon we'll be back in school, and I think this is the best time to have the bonding between the children and the parent. We have to take it in a positive way, and this is the best time to instill the life skill in children, how to be successful in life as well. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
I'd like to add here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes.
I'd like to just tell about what's this, as Vasanthi ma'am said just now, about how the Art of Living programs, the students have been practicing regularly, and they have undergone the program and they've been practicing regularly, and she's seen the it's so effective. The transformation is so evident, she mentioned. And I really experienced this even in this lockdown. We have two counselors, we have a special educator, and they were all in touch with the students. I was also in interaction with many other school principals or faculty members or parents, and people been discussing on all these things. And so many expressed saying that their child is facing this anxiety. When is this going to? Because they're not able to meet their friends. They're feeling so cooped up within the four walls, and so many things that this child has been experiencing. They were sharing with me. So I immediately asked our counselors to get in touch with all the students and check how's the situation with our school students. And I must say that, everybody has been regular with the Art of Living programs, practicing Sudarshan Kriya every day, because in the school it is a part of our daily morning yogas, and Sudarshan Kriya is a part of the daily activity. And all this has shown its result during this lockdown. None of them even expressed any kind of anxiety. They were so, ma'am, yes, ma'am, we are managing, ma'am. You're sending us so many activities. We are happy with that, ma'am. It's nice. Only we are missing seeing you, ma'am. But you came on this thing, so we can see you virtually. I could still see the happiness, the joy in them. And I completely connected to the programs that we have been giving them every day in the school, which is from the Art of Living. And I could see its result definitely during these 2 months. They are sounding so happy, they are sounding so safe, and they are seeing it on the positive side. They are saying, yes, this is a situation, changes are inevident, and this is also one of the changes moving to virtual classes. They have accepted it without even complaining. So these are all the result of the life skills, the community services that they have been doing, and the art of living programs that we have been running in the school. So I'm really grateful to Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Guruji for these courses and for guiding us on how to implement it in the schools and with the students. And I'm grateful to parents for getting them to practice and not miss this program, the daily practice even during these lockdowns. So many of the students shared that they are, because it has become a part of them, like how they brush their teeth now, this has also become part of them. And that is where their mental hygiene also has been very positive. And parents are encouraging them and being very supportive for them to practice this on a daily basis. So I thank the parents also for understanding the value of this and getting them to do these programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Reshmaka, for sharing that the Sudarshana Kriya helps in coping with stress. I think coping skills is very, very important for our students as they grow up, because once they get into their life, whether it is a relationship that they have to cope up with, or whether it is work pressure, whether it is work-life balance, coping is the key. And how well you cope really takes you forward. The more you go inward, the more you go forward. So I would highly recommend each and every child and teenager, parents also, and teachers to do the Sudarshan Kriya. This is from my heart that I'm saying that it has helped a lot of people, thousands of people cope with stress. Not only cope, they also realize that they are not who they are when they get into a negative mood. Today, I was in a session with teenagers where they shared that, oh, Didi, you have shared so well. We know that we can get rid of our negative qualities and realize who we really are. And we want to be who we are, not be dictated by our mood swings. So, coping is the key. Now, I would like to thank all the panelists and everyone who has come here and watched us. You have come here to watch all your principals and academic leaders share their experience. Thank you so much for your love. We kept seeing every principal's name come up here, thanking them for this lovely program. Thank you, Vasanti ma'am, for your wisdom. Thank you, Manila ma'am, for your expertise. Thank you, Usha ma'am, for your experience. Thank you, Reshma ma'am, for your love and caring. Thank you so much, Sri Jyoti ma'am, for the rich heritage that you bring with you. Thank you, everyone. Very blessed to have all of you on this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaste. So we were watching the happy school, happy child confluence with some of the eminent academicians ever in India. I must say that, yes. And we have been focusing on how community service can help in shaping the life skills of children. For more details, do look up our programs, the Medha Yoga and the Utkarsh Yoga. Medha Yoga for teenagers, earlier called the YES program, and Utkarsh Yoga for children, earlier called the Art Excel. There have been a lot of changes and lot more included in these power-packed programs. We have the happiness program for adults, parents, and teachers. We welcome you to look us up on this website that is scrolling right now. Thank you so much for your interest and your support in this value system, much required for our children today. Thank you very much. Namaste. This is Gauri R. Nair, Regional Director of South of India for Children and Teens Programs. Have a good night. Stay home, stay safe, stay stress-free. Namaste.